Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna Crossan and today I am reviewing a new indie makeup palette from Klarity Kosmetics. This is the Klarity Kosmetics Magic Lamp Palette. It was inspired by Aladdin. So here is the packaging. So pretty. I love it. The inside has a mirror, which is always really nice. I'll have to read up, but it has only four mattes. It has two sequiny type shades, and then the other ones are like either duochromes, shimmers, intense metallics, multi-chromes, just a lot of craziness going on. I do have some swatches on my Instagram. I take more time doing my swatches for my Instagram than I do like when I do a video review, just because those are pictures and they're gonna like stay there forever. I'm just gonna quickly swatch them for you. These are very powdery. I had no problems building them up whatsoever. We're just gonna do like one quick swipe finger swatches for you guys here today. If the swatches look different than my Instagram, it's honestly just because I do take the time to like make it nice and neat, versus here I'll just like swatch it really quick. But I had no problems when I was swatching for my Instagram, and I don't use primer and everything swatched really nicely, barely had to touch anything. These are very powdery and they are very fragile, so you want to be very careful. So I'm going to start with the top row. We're just going to jump into it. I will go over the price point in just a little bit. I did order mine on Black Friday and it just like got here recently. That one is so pretty, but it's so soft. These are like sequiny shades, so you have like your mattes. So for these first four, this one's just like a regular matte. You have kind of a multi-chrome, duochrome. It's kind of hard to see in this lighting the different colors it shifts to. This is a matte with the glitters and another matte with the glitters. So we're just gonna go ahead and do one finger swipe swatches there for you guys so you can see them. Like this could just, you know, keep going for a little bit. Here is the sequin matte shade. I'm just gonna help blend that a little bit. And then here is this yellow one. All those swatch really nice. The only thing I would say is these ones are just so powdery. I've heard that complaint quite a bit, but they are very soft. But they are very pigmented. If you can see like that yellow, it's still showing up like a yellow. Sometimes yellows almost go more white on the skin, but this one actually looks yellow. So that is the first four. Let's move on to the next four. So this one is called Set You Free, and it is like very crumbly after I used it. It is one of the duochromes, but it's so fragile. As I tap it, it's just like coming up. It's just not pressed very well. And some people's shadows did come broken. I was fortunate that none of mine came broken whatsoever, but as you see, as soon as I just swipe these up, they just pick up so much product. They're just very, very pigmented. So we are heading into the second row here with the gold, and then also the coral. Here are these shades, very beautiful. I think that she did such a good job with the color story. This one's the really flaky one that I would definitely use wet or with a glitter glue. It's beautiful, but it is just a little bit more chunky, a little bit more dry, so it just doesn't stick that well. There's that beautiful turquoise blue, very pigmented again. You can see I'm just I'm not really having to work for these swatches. They really are swatching amazing. I just like to kind of blend out the foily shades a little bit more because they are more textured. And then here is the last coral shade from those four. So here it looks corally orange from where I'm sitting, but in the monitor I can tell it looks more pink. So that is pretty cool. I just turned my ring light down a little bit, so hopefully that helps. But these are so gorgeous. But maybe you can see some of the shifts a little better. But so pretty, so shiny. Really takes little effort, but very fragile. Be careful. Now for the last four, going into this deeper shade, this multi-chrome here, red, and this deep blue, which is almost just like a dark blue blackened type of shimmer. This one feels a little gritty, but not too terrible. Oh, these are so soft. Make a wish. So pretty. Ah, this one I'm so excited to use. These two combined I think would be amazing. Actually, the red feels the most gritty. And lastly, the blue. It's just like this metallic blackened blue color. But it still swatches really nicely. These shades sometimes get really patchy and it's like not. So these two shades I really want to work together. I think it would look so stinking pretty. See how the red swatches. Like I said, I don't think I had any issues swatching any of these shades. Like, I think you can tell how pigmented they are just by me swatching these here right now. So those are the last 4. I really want to put this combo on my eye, but this is the combo we did today. I bought this palette on Black Friday. I was one of the lucky ones that got a 50% off. It was like a surprise. First 50 people get 50% off. I got this palette for cheaper. It does retail for $49. This palette has 12 shadows. It has 4 mattes, 2 shimmer mattes, 3 multi-chromes, 1 duochrome, and 2 foiled shadows. And it does come with the brush as well. These are handmade and vegan and cruelty-free, super pigmented. I agree. I know that the quality is a little bit harder to work with, but I don't believe that they do refunds right now or returns because they are each handmade. So this becomes a little bit hard when saying like, yeah, you should totally buy it, because if you're one of the unfortunate ones who gets a broken palette, of course you don't want to spend $49 and have a broken shadow, because especially if it's like a shimmer or the darker shade and it gets into all the other ones, it really can mess up with the other colors. I know a lot of people are really good at fixing their own shadows nowadays, but it's still just, who wants to spend that much money and then get a broken palette? But this isn't just a Klarity Kosmetics thing. I've had this even happen at Sephora, where I kept ordering a Huda Beauty palette and it kept coming broken. I don't know what else she could do to fix her shadows so that they don't come broken without messing with her quality that she does, because she had bubble wrap, I kid you not, like this thick on top of the palette. So it is quite unfortunate. I think she really does her best to make sure that you don't get a broken palette. I know for the So Amazing palette, I think she did something like, for the broken shade, I'll send you a new shade. It's just like a one-woman show. She's making these by hand, but that is just something to be aware of before you do purchase from this brand. My So Amazing palette came perfectly fine. This palette came perfectly fine. My very first palette I ordered from Klarity it did come with a broken glitter shade. It was like the chocolate palette. We're gonna get into the demo. This is the look that I came up with today, and I think it's really pretty. I look super crazy. I already primed my lid. This is with the e.l.f. Eye Putty Primer. I chose this primer because I have already watched some reviews on this palette, and one of the main complaints was like some of the pastel type colors, the lighter shades, weren't sticking. And I find that to be an issue with some pigment type shadows. And this is a pressed pigment palette, and I find that the e.l.f. Putty Primer works really well with those types of shades because it is a little bit harder to blend with this base, but it holds those pigments right where you put it. I'm hoping it's a good choice. This is the one that's white, so it will also help make the colors pop even more. It actually does come with its own dual-ended brush. This brush actually reminds me of one of the Urban Decay Cosmetics brushes that used to come in the other ones. So you get a flat shader brush, which is really nice, and then you also get a fluffy blending brush. So I think those two are very useful types of brushes to have. We're gonna go straight into Magic Carpet. Magic Carpet is one that I've heard a lot of people struggle with because it is that pastel. These are very powdery, which is why I didn't do my foundation yet. I think ColourPop calls these sequin shades, or maybe that was Tati Beauty, but it's just so soft, but it also has like little tiny sparkles in it, and some people don't like little tiny sparkles just because they usually just fall off. Okay, I barely touched it, and it's just like so much. Okay, very, very powdery. This is one you're definitely going to want to tap off your brush, and also one that you are going to want to do your foundation last, for sure. For sure you're going to want to do that. Okay, this is where the e.l.f. Eye Putty Primer is so helpful because, like I said, it really just helps that stuff just stick. I saw a lot of people like packing this down and it not doing anything. Sometimes it is all about the primer you use. I'm no makeup artist, but I'm just saying that's what I have found that works best for me. So if you are one that struggles with really slippery pigment, seriously, try the e.l.f. Putty Primer. I am not having issues with this shade, but like I said, I give it all thanks to the primer. I feel like if I was not using this primer, it probably would be too slippery and it probably would be hard to build up because it is a slipperier, powdery formula. I'm gonna go under the eye, but it still is very powdery, so again, I would, like, I have these little tiny glitters on my cheek, but that's okay. That's not a big deal. But I do see that, like, on this side, and maybe it's because the primer is already starting to dry, I do see it is missing that one patch, so that is not good. We'll see if it can, we'll see if we can build it up. I'm not too worried if the crease for this has kind of like a patchiness right there, just because I do plan on using this more as just my blending out shade. So if that doesn't end up working out, it's all right. But on this side, I feel like we had really good luck, except, okay, it's starting to blend a little bit away, but I feel like for the most part, it's mainly this eye. And I think it's because we waited too long to really put that on. I should have waited to prime my eye. Now we're going into Uh-Oh, which is this really beautiful deep burgundy shade. I'm going to go in with the fluffy side of the brush and hope that it will pack on top of that purple, because these are pressed pigments and sometimes that is an issue even with high-end brands. I've seen people have this issue with Anastasia Beverly Hills. I'm gonna take the flat shader brush area to put it underneath the eye, a deep shade. Super excited for the shimmers. I think that the shimmers and duochromes are honestly the most exciting part about this palette. So we're gonna go into Genie. Genie shifts from like this deep blue to turquoise. Sometimes when I'm looking at it from this angle, it looks purple. I'm gonna use this tacky base from Shop Miss A, and I'm gonna use the flat shader brush side to apply it first in the center, and then we're gonna apply Genie. We'll see how well it picks up with a brush, because these are, I don't know, I barely had to tap them with my fingers. It was, when I was swatching them, I barely tapped it with my fingers. I just like picked it up so easily. But again, sometimes like these types of shades, I mean, I don't know how it will work with a brush. We'll see here in a second. The great thing about using the same brush that you used for the glitter glue is it has some tackiness on there, so it makes it really easy to pick up the product as well. So that's always really nice too. So I don't know if you can tell, it's like going on just fine. It is a little bit clumping up in some areas, but there is again glue on this brush already. Now I'm going to take my finger and tap on top of that just to make it more even. Because truly your finger is like always your best bet, kind of. Very, very pretty. I do want to go into Set You Free. This is also like a duochrome that goes from, I can't tell if it's more pinky. This one is kind of moving a lot in the pan. It's a little more flaky-ish. This one I'm using a flat, wet shader brush. See how that does, and we're gonna just kind of put here. And even have it meet. Oh, I went a little too crazy right there, but whatever. It just shows you like how intense these can be. You don't need a lot. Very pretty. The duochromes and shimmers are so pretty in this. Go ahead and do the same to the other eye now. We'll just have to equally go crazy on this side to make up for it. Oops, so that shade is starting to break. Set You Free. It's not, Set You Free is just not, it's just a very loose it's very loose. It's not pressed. It is not pressed very, very tightly. I think I'm gonna take Happy Ending. It's just this like really deep navy blue. It is shimmery. I don't know if it has, it looks just like a black and blue. I don't know. I'm just gonna add that. Clean this up, finish up the rest of my makeup, and we'll talk about it. After having used 4 shadows in this palette, I would say It is not the most user-friendly palette. I find that anytime there's pressed pigments in a palette, it's not going to be the most user-friendly palette. I find the shimmers are also like fragile and can break apart, so you even have to work with those. I feel like you have to be very careful when dipping your brushes. This is definitely more for someone who is experienced with different types of shadow formulas, but the color story is so pretty and the shimmers are so gorgeous in this. They're so pretty. I can't wait to play with this more. I really want to use like these 3 shades together, 4 shades. Oh, it would be so beautiful to make kind of a rose golden purpley plum look. I really want to do that. This color story is gorgeous. I like the brush it came with. I appreciate the mirror. Again, I wouldn't recommend this for someone who's beginner to makeup, someone who doesn't know that, oh yeah, glitter glue is really going to help with shimmers, or oh, I need to use a stickier base with a pressed pigment. If those things are hard for you to be able to work with, I would not recommend this palette for you. But if you are someone who's explored a lot of different formulas, then yes, I think it's a really pretty palette. Again, if you feel comfortable purchasing from Klarity Kosmetics, knowing that you might not get a refund. So let me know what your thoughts are on this palette. I think the color story is gorgeous and I want to play more with it. Let me know if you want to see more looks in the future with this palette, and I can do that because I want to play more with it for sure. Thank you guys so much for watching, and you guys have a great day. Bye.